Ex-homeless people. What was the scariest thing that you ever saw on the streets? I spent 8 months homeless in Chicago when I was 22. Lost my job, couldn't make rent, fell through every crack the system has. Most people think homeless means sleeping on park benches with a cardboard sign, but that's not how it really works. You learn rules real fast if you want to survive. The most important rule I learned came from an older guy named Eddie. He'd been out there for 3 years, knew every shelter, every soup kitchen, every safe corner in the city. Eddie taught me the golden rule of street life. Never sleep in the same place twice. Not the same doorway, not the same overpass, not even the same block. He said people watch patterns, and patterns get you hurt. I thought Eddie was just paranoid. Guy had been out there too long, you know? His mind was probably a little fried from everything he'd seen. But I followed his advice anyway because Eddie was the only reason I wasn't getting robbed every night. There was this other guy, Kevin, maybe 25, always quiet, always kept to himself. He usually sat outside the Greyhound station downtown with a small cardboard sign that just said, "Anything helps." Never bothered anyone, never caused trouble, just sat there looking defeated, wearing the same faded green jacket every single day. Kevin found this spot under the Harrison Street Bridge. It was actually perfect, covered from rain, hidden from most foot traffic, close enough to the 24-hour gas station that you felt somewhat safe. For about 10 days straight, Kevin slept in that exact same corner every night. Same time, same spot, same routine. On the 10th night, I was across the street with Eddie, sharing a can of cold ravioli by a trash barrel fire. It was February, freezing cold, and we were wrapped in every piece of clothing we owned. Around 2 in the morning, I saw 3 guys in dark hoodies walking slowly down the street toward Kevin's bridge. I didn't think much about it at first. People walk around at night, but then they stopped about 50 feet from the bridge and started looking around, checking if anyone was watching. One of them pulled something long and metal from inside his jacket. It was a crowbar. Eddie grabbed my arm and pulled me down behind the barrel. "Don't move," he whispered. "Don't make a sound." The 3 guys walked right up to where Kevin was sleeping. I could see Kevin's green jacket in the shadows, and he wasn't moving. Maybe he was in deep sleep. Maybe he heard them coming but was too scared to run. What happened next still gives me nightmares. They didn't try to rob him. They didn't go through his stuff. They just started beating him with that crowbar in their fists. Kevin never screamed, never fought back. The whole thing lasted maybe 2 minutes, but it felt like forever. When they finished, they just walked away like they were taking out garbage. Didn't run, didn't look around nervously. Just casual, like they'd done this before. I wanted to call 911, but Eddie held me back. "Wait," he said. "Make sure they're really gone." After 10 minutes, I used a phone that another homeless guy let me borrow and called for an ambulance. The dispatcher kept asking for the exact address, but I didn't know street numbers. I just kept saying, "Under the Harrison Bridge, there's a man who's been beaten." The ambulance took 45 minutes to show up. When they got there, Kevin was still breathing, but barely. Blood everywhere. They loaded him up and drove away, and I never found out if he survived. The next morning, a guy in a nice suit and clean shoes came around asking questions. Said he worked with a local shelter program, showed me some official-looking badge, asked if anyone had seen what happened to Kevin, if Kevin had any enemies, if he'd been causing problems for other people in the area. I recognized the logo on his jacket. It was from one of the shelters downtown, but something felt wrong about the whole thing. Eddie pulled me aside after the guy left. "That wasn't a shelter worker," he said quietly. "That guy comes around whenever someone gets hurt. He asks questions, but not the kind that help people." "What do you mean?" "Kevin saw something he shouldn't have seen. Or maybe he heard something. People like that guy, they keep track of who sleeps where. That's why you never stay in the same place twice." I asked Eddie what Kevin could have possibly seen that would get him nearly killed. Eddie just shook his head and said, "Things happen at night, things that important people don't want anyone talking about." 2 weeks later, I managed to get into a program that helped me find work and housing. I never saw Kevin again, never found out if he made it.